Folks, the people of Alabama have an important decision to make within the next 30 days. And it's not a question of who is going to represent them in Congress as far as being the senator from the state of Alabama. In my mind, the question is, are they going to vote for morality or power? I say that because the person you see in front of you, Roy Moore, who is the GOP Senate nominee in Alabama, has been accused of sexual impropriety, and in particular with at least one underage girl and several teenagers. And I consider anybody under 18 underage, even though by law in the state of Alabama, 16 is the age of consent. Anytime a 32-year-old man is chasing after girls that are 16, 17, 18, is banned from malls because of his propensity to harass young girls, makes phone calls chasing girls to their high school, pulling them out of class in order to try to get dates with them. I call that behavior reprehensible. Now, you have all of these, and I'll call them phony, absolutely phony, and I'll also call them immoral, evangelical preachers that are out there defending this man. I just got through watching a segment on AM Joy where this guy, quote unquote, Pastor Mark Burns, got through defending Roy Moore. Now, if you're not really all that familiar with Mark Burns, the last time that we saw Mark Burns, who, by the way, is on Donald Trump's evangelical panel, or whatever he wants to call it. The last time you saw this guy was on MSNBC on the Morning Joe show, where he got eviscerated. And then when they did a deep down investigation on him, with a reporter coming up to the address of his quote unquote so-called church, which was basically a studio that he does broadcast from, you saw him running. And then when his background was further delved into, he had to admit that a bunch of the qualifications that he has were phony. So now, out of the blue, when they called for a bunch of pastors to step up to the plate and voice their support of Roy Moore, this guy shows up. It never fails to amaze me how all of these charlatans, and I'll call them charlatans, they're not called, in my opinion, they're not called by God in order to bear witness and to give us a moral foundation. How all of these immoral guys can step up to defend an immoral person. Now, you had the same situation with Donald Trump after that video came out with him admitting that he kissed women against their wills, that he groped and fondled women against their wills. And immediately after that, you had all of these quote unquote holier than thou evangelical pastors step up to support Donald Trump, basically stating that the 12 women who had made accusations against him, basically calling all of them liars. And the same thing is going on right now down in Alabama. Now, let me say this. If it were one, maybe two people, women, you know something, I can't even go there. If one woman makes an accusation against a man, it is up to that man to disprove that accusation if at all possible. Now, when you talk about going back years and years and years, it's damn near impossible. So it then becomes a question of the character of the individual. Now, Roy Moore has shown his character. This man is a person of low to no moral character. This person doesn't believe that a Muslim should be able to serve in the Congress of the United States. This man basically is a homophobe. This man basically doesn't believe in the Constitution because not once but twice he was dismissed from the Alabama Supreme Court for failing to uphold rulings by the Supreme Court as to the constitutionality of gay marriage, and as well as placing a monument to the 12 commandments in his court, where clearly the Constitution calls for the separation of church and state. But he doesn't give a damn about that. He only wants to support the things that he believes in, rather than maintaining his oath to uphold the Constitution. Now, he's getting a lot of support from various segments of our society, and in particular, those that I call phony evangelicals. And the reason he's getting this support is because they believe if they can get him in place, that all of a sudden there will be a cataclysmic upheaval as far as the rulings on various laws having to do with religion versus state. Again, the evangelicals are not seeking the moral high ground, rather they're seeking power in order to, and I'll say it like it is, to instill Christian Sharia law into our country. That ain't right, and I hope that it does not come to pass.